Hi guys, History Writer here. Welcome back. Today we're going to actually do something a little different than the usual channel update. We are going to discuss a little bit about the area rule that I had mentioned briefly before while talking about the Convair F-102 Delta Dagger that I'm building for one of the ISM, the International Scale Modeler Shelf of Doom build, actually. So I figured when I was talking about it, I got some interest, said, hey, I want to learn more about it. So you mind talking more about it? And I said, sure, I'd love to. I enjoy this kind of stuff, so I thought it would be fun. So anyway, that's what we're going to do today. I will try to keep it as brief and concise as I can because this stuff, dealing with aeronautics and aerodynamics can get rather technical and probably make your eyes glaze over. But in any case, go ahead and grab drinks, popcorn, snacks, whatever, and sit back, relax. We'll have some fun discussing the area rule. First and foremost, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some other terms that we're going to come across. We are going to talk a little bit about transonic, a term called transonic, and then also we're going to be talking about what transonic speeds do, creating a critical Mach number. Before we dive into that, transonic. What transonic is just the condition of flight where the airflow around the airframe will actually be flowing at different speeds depending on the location of where they are. For example, the airflow closer to the fuselage might be traveling faster than the airflow around the wings. This occurs more often in the speeds between 0.7 to 1.2 Mach, or times the speed of sound. So just under breaking the sound barrier and just having exceeded the sound barrier is where this transonic flight and speeds occur. Now, the critical Mach number is that speed of where of the air around where it's doing that transonic flight. So the critical Mach number isn't something that's fixed. It's actually rather fluid, and it can change depending on the condition of the aircraft, the condition of the air, and the speed that the actual aircraft is flying. Now, with the transonic flight at that speed, it will actually develop a lot of drag. I mean, that speed in particular develops a lot of drag against the airframe. And stereotypically, most airframes nowadays actually travel in that specific range on a regular basis, continually, civilian and military alike. The military actually requires their jets to be able to perform in that transonic speed range. Because they might be, fluctuating their speeds during combat, or any kind of maneuvers require it at that speed. Civilian aircraft can even reach those speeds on a regular basis, just traveling back and forth. So this concept of the transonic speeds and the critical Mach number lead to the area rule, which was just a way to work with the drag. It was a way to, it was a concept of design to reduce that drag as best as possible. What I will do later on is we will look into the, actually we'll go to the workbench and I'll show some diagrams of how it works and why. So it'll be kind of fun today. The area rule was initially developed or worked on toward the tail end of the World War II by the Germans. while they were experimenting with their jet aircraft and better wing and fuselage design to reduce that drag, so that their aircraft would fly better and perform better. We got wind of it while working with the F-102, and we had come up with an initial design, and it performed poorly. Excuse me. It did not want to even break the sound barrier. It didn't want to fly very well. The Air Force said, "What is this? We don't want it because it doesn't meet our expectations." And so Convair had to have a significant redesign. And it was a gentleman by the name of Richard Whitcomb who developed the Whitcomb Area Rule, who came up with the way to redesign the aircraft based off of this concept and make it perform as advertised. So it's really quite cool. So we'll pause for a moment. We'll talk about the area rule now that we kind of have an idea of what the transonic speeds are for the critical Mach numbers and how they affect the airframe. All right, guys. So we talked a bit about the transonic speeds and the critical Mach number. Now, the area rule was developed in order to prevent wave drag, which is what that transonic speed and critical Mach number create. When the aircraft is traveling at that speed, it just has an immense sudden shock wave that hits it. And wherever at those speeds where the critical Mach number is different, that's where that shock wave develops. So it could have any number of those little shock waves pressing against the airframe. The area rule, that concept is to change the fuselage and the wing design of the aircraft to increase the airflow capability, but without changing the area of the aircraft. For example, two aircraft having the same longitudinal cross-section area will have different reactions to the critical Mach number and wave drag, and the best way to compensate for that was to change the area of the fuselage while at the in the center. Basically, they called it Wasp-waisting, or the colloquialism, the Coke bottle shape. So equidistant from the center of gravity, the fuselage will maintain its original shape, but towards the center, it will narrow and then widen out again to help increase the airflow around that specific area to reduce the wave drag on the airframe. It is actually a real cool shape. The F-102 has a real good look to it now. All of the Century series, from the F-102 onward, F-102, F-104, the 105, and the F-106, all used the area rule to compensate for that transonic critical Mach number speeds. And so what we'll do now is we'll go to the drawing board, or workbench as it were, and we'll take a look at the differences here, and I will demonstrate the area rule for you. So enjoy. Hope this is kind of informative. I know it's not very in-depth, but I didn't want to do it that way, or else we'd all want to go home early and get our money back. Anyway, we'll see you at the drawing board. Hey guys, welcome to the drawing board. You can see I've got a delta-winged aircraft here. This is actually a cutaway of the F-102, the YF-102 actually, the original design. You can see here, let me go ahead and get my pointer. We've got that straight-looking, right there, that straight-looking fuselage, okay? And Here we've got a different different kind of cockpit than what we are used to as seeing in the F-102A. Now, a little bit before we start, the delta-winged aircraft are really a really unique design. They are, especially the way that the wings are oriented, you can see here that they are towards the end of the fuselage. You know, they don't start all the way up at the beginning, but they start closer towards the midsection in the end. Same is true if you look at the Concorde. The delta-winged aircraft like this, the really small, sharp delta wing, is actually designed for that sustained speed in the transonic or supersonic range. The reason being is if we look into the mathematics, we see the shock waves when the aircraft is moving in a forward motion. Oops, let's go ahead and get that back there. When the aircraft is moving forward, it's breaking through the air, and the shock waves are going to come off at an angle. Okay. So the reason behind that delta wing set as far close to the rear of the fuselage is when the faster it's going, the narrower those shock waves are going to be, so then it's going to be easier for them at that high speed to flow over the wing surfaces. That's why they designed it that way, is so that you can have faster speed, less drag at that sustained high speed. So, but as we can see, you know, this the F-102 here, it doesn't quite have that Coke bottle or the wasp waist, the area rule design. This was the precursor to. This was the version that nobody liked. So I've got myself a marker here, and what I'm going to do is we're going to draw the airwaves traveling, you know, to different points of the airframe here. So this kind of shows, you know, what we're representing here is just the different Mach numbers. Okay, the critical Mach. This is where the transonic. So this one here. Let's go ahead. So this one, you know, might be traveling at a different speed. This airflow is traveling at a different speed than, say, this one here, or even, you know, some coming right over the top of the airframe like that. So let's get a different color here. And this area here, this area, all the areas here in pink, that's where we would see that those critical Mach numbers with the transonic speed of the air differ. And as we said, you know, with the waves, that's going to create all of that. Let's draw it like this here so we can see. That's going to create those waves, that create all that drag. Now, as we can see, you know, if we have air traveling along here, you know, along the side of the fuselage, the area rule that's not in effect here, it could have any number of points. Oh, let's just say pick here, 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 and here, to have that differing transonic speed. So you can see already that this is not a very good design for traveling at that high rate, and where it's going to have all of that drag, and it's going to lessen the performance. All right, now what we're going to do is we are going to switch over to the F-102A. We can already see that it has a different shape to it, can't we? The area rule, remember what we were talking about, where the longitudinal cross-section needs to retain the same amount of area as it would for the 102, not the 102A, the YF-102, but it can be reduced, and it needs to have a constant taper. or a smooth decrease. So here, let's go ahead and let's just right there. There it's the same length, and here it's the same. So they have the same longitudinal cross sections to maintain the same amount of area, but if we look in here, whoops, not a very good line, sorry about that, guys. There's that taper. Okay, so now what we do is let's go ahead and look at the airflow. So now it's going to be the same. Let's do that there. All right. So now we've got all the different points of airflow where the critical Mach numbers are creating the shock waves there. But let's take a look. Remember, so when we were talking about the transonic speed, if the air might be traveling faster here along the curvature of the fuselage, and that will help reduce the drag, just because it has, even though it has the same area here, it doesn't have the same area here. So then it's reducing the amount of drag because it has a better contour to it. So there's not as many points as far as the airflow is concerned where it can create those critical Mach numbers and cause all that wave drag. So there it is in kind of a real simple, concise version of that Coke bottle shape. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. They also redesigned the cockpit to help, instead of a much more contoured, it's much sharper. So then it will help that air be deflected alongside the wasp waist and further reduce. They also added these couple extra spoilers here to help the shock building up, to help reduce that. So anyway, before I start rambling on too much, that in itself is the area rule design concept to reduce the amount of wave drag created by the transonic speeds. It's important. It's still in effect today. Even though the airframe designs are a bit different, it still is a major component to the aeronautical engineering. So if you guys have any further questions, do please let me know, and I will try to explain it better if I can or if I need to. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll wrap it up momentarily. All right, guys, that wraps it up. Thanks for putting up with me, and thanks for letting me talk a little bit about the area rule. I hope it was easy enough to understand. But in any case, let me know if you have any further questions or you need to see anything else. We'll catch you on ISM, International Scale Modelers. So I hope you're following along. Thanks for watching my channel. Thanks for watching this video, and keep subscribing, keep the comments, keep the support coming. Greatly appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you later. History Rider out.